Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Giuseppe Basile, also known as the FibStalker. This is the weekend video review part 2. Today is April the 8th, 2018, and this video is part of the FibStalker Analysis and Trading Service. Now, as I mentioned before, please review the disclaimer if you have not done that yet and accepted it. Please pause the video here and you can read and accept the usual disclaimer here. Thank you. As I mentioned, the first part, we're going to review only some of the opportunities here that make sense and that were developments. So the first one is the Kenyan dollar Japanese yen. This market has reacted to the 50% long and is now trading within the extension short here on the weekly. If the 84.39 it's based on the upside, then we will look for a retrace and a continuation higher. On the other hand, if this area holds, we could see the market moving back down into 81.92. The euro pound, we are seeing that first target, the measure move, the 50%, with price continuously moving towards the target there, and we saw this strong move lower, and the market traded an extension here, and that's what's pushing the price lower into the first and second target, helping price into that weekly target at 86.12. Euro Canadian dollar, very important development for this market, and it's something that we need to keep an eye on because this market could retrace now all the way into the lows, and the 50% long has traded, brought price into first target, and the second target is just above, and it was touched. And last week we saw the failure of the trend. Okay, so now the trend down has started, and the question here is the trend failed below this 154.97. Sorry, 155.97. The low was 155.86. Okay, so 11 pips below that level. And so the question now remains whether this market is going to retrace before starting that move lower, or it's just going to continue lower from here, and the first stop of the first area where there could be some sort of participation is going to be the 149.67. So very, very important development. Is one of those markets that you want to keep adding as it moves lower, and it's going to give us opportunities to trade as we go. Okay, so on the daily time frame, we can consider an extension long here in case we don't get a full retracement, but again this market could continue lower here, and if we get a reaction to the extension short, that would be the 158.21. The euro New Zealand dollar, it's in a very similar situation as the euro Canadian dollar, and the reason is that the 50% that traded in June traded into the first and second target, and the violation happened a few weeks back, if you remember, and since then this market has been trading laterally, as we can see here, from price not respecting, bulls not respecting, and not being able to hold, and bears not being able to hold price here. So now for the first time this week we saw an extension short trading. That's the lows, two lows here, that's what's trading at the moment, finding actually participation here on Friday and today as well. So that's gonna push price lower, and for this market too there is the possibility for a retrace, a large retrace into the 50% short, but possibly even lower into the 146.45. The situation is slightly different here for the pound versus Canadian dollar, And the reason is that this market has traded a 50% short from highs to lows, as you can see here, respect to 2 weeks. Now, this market too had a sequence of measure move higher, and the question here is when we can call that level that guarantees that the sequence has actually started. So the this market also failed the sequence of measured moves, and that's answered our question. Sorry, it has not failed yet the measure of measured moves. Sorry, my apologies here. So it's still holding that level, and this market, like the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, we're going to see in a minute, could actually continue higher, or at least retest to 183.68. Okay, so that's what we can anticipate in this market. Next market is the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar here, and as has been mentioned in the room as well before, this market is holding the next measure move. So there are some markets like the Euro, Canadian, the Euro, New Zealand dollar that have failed the next measure moves, and there are other markets that actually have held those measure moves. So this market could and should be traded on the upside. And what we're talking here about is the extension from the initial measure moves. Okay, so we had all this market at some point starting a reaction which brought price into that first and second target, but the next measure move actually it's holding, as you can see here. Okay, so this market has a sequence of measure move shorts, and we have to be careful that sequence will need to fail lows to highs to lows here. If this first target has been hit, then we need to consider the next measure move, which is this one. There's also another reading here which is much closer, and that's the highs to lows here, which gives us a closer level to watch for a violation and confirmation of this participation. As we can see here anyway, we can see from price that there is participation. So the first target is going to be 96.30 area for this market. Okay, there is still big time to get involved in this trade as well. The next market is the Kenyan dollar Swiss franc, and as you can see here, this market has moved from the range lows here, and it's approaching the 50% level. Now, I do not anticipate that level holding. However, and so what we're going to do is look at the sequence of measure move here higher, the sequence from lows to highs here, brought price into that first and second target as well, and the next measure move highs to highs is holding at the moment, and this market therefore could continue into 75.92. Okay, any retest of that level, successful retest of that level, could be traded on the upside. A similar situation we have here for the New Zealand dollar Japanese yen, which is also trading towards that previous level of resistance there, and we have a valid sequence, highs to lows to highs, traded price into the first and second target, and the next measured move is an extension highs to highs. As you can see here, same situation as before. This level has traded and has targets above. Okay, so this is it for this brief second review part of the weekend review. I only focused on relevant development and opportunities for the other markets. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the room. Bye bye now.